This media is brought to you by Polyscope.
In the realm of tomorrow, where techniques mind, we ponder, we dream.
Great. So, thank you so much for joining us here on Think Future. It's great to finally meet you because this is how we meet each other nowadays over Zoom. So, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and your organization and what you're passionate about?
Yeah, my name is Ibby. I am one of the founders of a company called Cotera alongside my wonderful team, my co-founder Tom Firth. What we do is we aim to be the easiest way for regular people, non-engineers, non-technical folks to build AI agents.
So,
to
neither of
actually
us,
solve.
basically. Neither of us.
It's not nobody. None of the call note takers on this. Not me, not you. Non-technical people to build AI agents that actually solve problems, right? We
Okay.
think we operate with this fundamental understanding that human time is really, really valuable. And there's a lot of things in the day that, are not necessarily worthy of as much time as they take. A great example is we're recording this podcast right now. You might, one thing that you should do more of is spend time talking to guests, spend time creating amazing episodes, but there's probably a lot of, I actually know this because we also have a podcast that hopefully, I think I sent an email to have you on, but
Oh, yeah.
we spend a lot of time, cross-posting it to different places, taking our recording from one platform and putting it onto another one, taking shorts from one platform and putting it onto another one. And that takes like a few hours a week. I don't want to do that. I want to spend my time doing other things. And so we've created automations to help us with that part of the
Yeah.
process. And that's the kind of work that we do.
Well, that's the one thing about life, right? It's kind of like 80% like boring, burdensome stuff that you don't want to do. And there's like 20% or even less really cool stuff that you really want to do. And that's one of the reasons why we invented any tool, right? I mean,
That's exactly right.
not even just AI. It's like it was supposed to lift our burdens. And of course, for some people, it's not. And for other people, it is. But so you're one of the founders of the company? How long have you
I
been
am,
around?
yeah. We've been around for about 2 years. Before this, I was
That's
the
nothing.
first.
You guys are babies.
We are definitely babies. We are definitely babies. It's crazy to think about because we started this company in 2020, like late 2022, early 2023. So I guess a little bit more than 2 years now. But yeah, it's this whole AI thing is so new, right? Like we are actually kind of at the infancy of it all. It feels a little bit like .com 1.0.
Yeah.
And we have no idea what the world's going to look like in like 2 to 3 years, right? Like everyone was like, oh, everyone's going to if you'd looked back at Reddit or LinkedIn or some social media site where the loudest voice gets amplified 6 to 7 to 8 months ago, we were still talking about, oh, everyone's going to lose their job and we need UBI. And
Yep.
now the sort of conversation has shifted because, the promise has been quite different from the actual progress of that promise. And now you get the other side of the internet coming out of the woodwork, which is like, oh, like this is never going to work. Like AI sucks. It's terrible. And like
It
the real
constantly
answer is,
swings. It constantly swings back and forth between the two. I find it's like one day it's like this. One day you're all gonna lose your jobs. The next day, oh no, it's gonna create way more jobs. And this is the way it is with all these technological breakthroughs, right? Before it or while you're in it, it's like, oh my God, this is the end of the world. Jobs are going to be gone forever. We'll never have it again. And this is new. We've never seen anything like this before. And then when you're on the other side, you're like, oh my God, we just created millions of new jobs doing millions of new things. And we've freed people up to do all sorts of amazing things. But we couldn't see it from the other side of the barrier, right? We could only see it. We only could see what we could see and not what was on the other side. Whoa, you okay, man? You're zooming in and out. And I seem to have lost your audio too. Yeah, I can't hear
here
you
we go.
anymore.
Now you've got my audio back.
Technical
I
difficulties.
was technical difficulties. You can hear me now, right?
Yeah, I can hear you just fine.
Incredible. The reason that it's going back and forth is because I've got this like camera set up and it by default like zooms in and out. And I know how annoying it is to edit that in post. And so I was turning that off. But what that did was like
Dude,
just
I don't
blow
edit
that to
anything. This is all going in.
Incredible, incredible. You know what? Love that. Wait, do you use any of like the delete filler words features or any of these things on these like new fangled products?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I'm raw. I go in raw and I come out raw, and
Love
that's
that.
it, man.
That's perfect. That's perfect. No, we love that.
It's
We love that.
authenticity. It's authenticity. I
Yeah,
remember
yeah.
I actually tried to drum out me saying and ahs and all these pauses in all my speech just because of that. Because I'm like, I'm too tired of taking this stuff out. So I just like drum it out of myself.
That's
It's
you are incredibly well spoken. You're incredibly well spoken. We've recorded like close to 100 episodes, and I still speak way too fast, have way too many filler words.
it's
Yeah.
very difficult. I've been doing this. I've actually been podcasting since 2005. So I've been doing this for 20
Wow.
years. So it takes a
Wow.
long time to get to the point where you can do it very smoothly. And I think
Yeah.
I'm still working on it. I still put a few likes and some actuallys and a few reallys in there where I'd rather not have them in there, but it is what it is. But you sound pretty
Listen,
good too. You see, the
listen.
more you do it, the better it gets.
You have to practice. The other thing that I do a ton of is I've got like a bunch of weird nervous twitches where I like you'll watch our sales guy will watch my sales calls and he goes, "Up, there you go again. You're twiddling your hair, like you're fidgeting with your face." Like I'm just like I like will go back and I watch the recording. I'm like, "Oh no, not again."
Dude, you're being real. That's what we want. We want
Being real.
authenticity, right?
We want
I
authenticity.
mean,
We want nervous ticks.
Would an AI do any of that stuff? See, that's how you prove that you're a real
See,
human. I
there
mean,
you
you
go.
could be an
That's how you
avatar.
prove that this is a real person that's on this podcast.
Exactly.
A
You
hundred
could
thousand percent. I'm
conceivably be
glad you
an
brought it up.
avatar. We could be avatars talking to each other right now, but because you're doing those things, I know that you're a real person. We're
I
at that
yeah.
point now.
Have you seen that like dog? Have you? This is gonna be a good transition. Watch. Have you
Okay.
seen that like dog talks to baby AI podcast thing? It was
Yes.
like it's really funny. Like you watch things like that. Like there's a ton of like generated crap on the internet.
Yes.
Like people
Yes.
are just putting things out there with like no. It's like this like obviously fake voice over like fake generated imagery. But then
Yeah.
someone actually from time to time will come up with something like truly interesting and authentic and unique.
Oh
And you're
yeah.
like, oh, like this is a really good use of this technology.
Exactly.
Um,
Well, I think Meta
yeah.
doesn't Meta actually have like a TikTok knockoff called Vibes or something like that, which is basically just full of AI generated video after AI generated video, and
Sora
90% of it is
is
crap, right?
90% of it is really bad, but it's really
Yeah.
funny to see. It's really funny to see. It's really funny to see what people come up with, right? Like the funny the one that has been around for a while now is Suno,
hmm
the AI music
I use
company.
that all the time. All my music comes from Suno. All of
Interesting.
it. Yeah.
That's
It's
I was in a
fantastic.
Hyatt. I was in a Hyatt in Mexico City the other day. Like just when I don't know. I have like their loyalty thing, so I stay there for free from time to time. And I was on a
Right.
trip to Mexico City, so I booked myself a hotel. And I was sitting in their like cafeteria restaurant thing, and I also was an avid user of Suno. I don't use it as much anymore, but I was an avid user of Suno for a while when it first came out. I was like, this is the greatest thing since sliced bread. But it that voice that they use, like the fact that they layer like the three or four the same voice on top of each other, it
Yeah.
produces a very specific sound. And they have like the iambic pentameter that it uses is like it used to at least be very specific. I don't know if it still is. And I remember being there being like, huh, this song sounds AI generated. I've never heard it before. So I took out
Yeah.
Shazam on my phone and I like started recording it, and obviously nothing came up because it was indeed AI generated.
Yeah. Very cool.
It's always fun
Did they
to
actually put some lyrics in there? Was there some subliminal messaging or anything like that?
I don't know if it was subliminal. I think it was just like standard love song. Like, oh, like
Yeah.
you make my heart happy like the ocean. I haven't recorded. I'll send it to you after this is done. You can I forget
Cool.
what it.
Maybe I'll use it for the outro music.
There you go. Just like the same Hyatt Hyatt music. Yeah. But it's really interesting that
Well, does your tool do that kind of stuff? I mean, how broad is it? Like, can it actually do things like that? Can if I say I want a cat video of my cat, actually coding on my computer, can you actually do something to that
it
effect
can
or
indeed. It can
Mhm.
indeed. We
That's
use the
simple?
way that it works. The way that it works is we utilize a lot of we don't make any models ourselves in house. But what we aim to do is we aim to connect with the best providers out there, and so that's how it works. So like you would say, I want a cat video, and well, not only do I want a cat video, I want you to go to Wikipedia And for every breed of cats on the Wikipedia cats breed page, I would like you to generate a video of them coding. That's the thing that
Nice.
our product is great at, right? Like take data from one thing, manipulate it, and then make a video for each one, right? It's like it's supposed to help you automate the workflows at scale. But what we'll do then is we have like a provider that can go to and visit Wikipedia, and then we have a provider that makes like AI generated videos, and we are just the roadway between the two.
So you're like a
And you can
Zapier
say,
of AI, that sort of thing? Would that be a good
it's
explanation?
basically exactly what it is. We mainly work with enterprises, so like companies like Built Rewards, which is like a credit card company here in New York City, Coterie Baby, which is the world's best diaper company. The way that they use us that they wouldn't use Zapier is that the product is very good to use for these workflows within your own company's ecosystem. So let me give you an example. Let me give you an example for Built. Built is, I mean, one of my favorite products. Again, I almost never pay for a Hyatt property because me paying for my groceries and stuff on this credit card gets me enough points to where I can to stay at hotels for free. But they have this because you can pay your rent with the credit card. That's kind of like that's kind of the way that they enter the market. They have a lot of features to help you do that. So not every landlord is going to take an ACH account number, which is how historically you would pay rent. So they'll
Yep.
send a check on your behalf, but they have these people that are defrauding them in subtle ways. So like
Hmm.
somebody like me who runs a business will pay for their office address using the built rent check. Or they will own their house, but they'll pay themselves rent at like 10x the market rate. So
Wow.
they'll be able to get the points
Scammy.
on it, right? Scamming, right? Everyone's
Hmm.
everyone's got scammers. Um, and what our AI does is, they basically attach it to their data set of checks. It will take an image of a check, extract the address, go check Zillow and check Google Maps to make sure one, is this reasonable rent for this company, this property, and two, is it actually a residential property or is it a commercial property? And if both of those things come back, one or both of those things come back as, hey, this is like a flag, either the rent is too high or this is a commercial property, it'll send the user a message being like, hey, we need proof of lease before we can like continue this payment.
Wow.
And so, you can do stuff like that with other products, but it's very difficult to attach those products to your internal data. And that is where we are best is
And
is
how
is
how much of a non-techie do you need to be in order to do this? Or would you be able to just hand it to an admin person or database person or somebody who's just doing the job and say, you can set this up?
Yep, that's how it works for almost all of our customers. Like there is a little bit of a step where if you want to connect it to a bunch, your data team will just expose the tables to you. But we pride ourselves in being data warehouse native. So most companies have data warehouses. All we do is we talk to the person that owns the data warehouse. They expose the right tables to us, and we actually don't store anything on our side either. We just provide that sort of round trip to the model provider through the tools and back, and we use your internal infrastructure as the storage layer. So it's both incredibly safe, but also works. Um, yeah, it just you provide it like very sandboxed access to specific
Cool.
specific tools and specific tables, and it works that way.
So what made you decide to get into this? I mean, did you have an issue at some point and you said, well, this needs to be dealt with, or what was your inspiration to do this?
Yeah. So my last job, I was the one of the early hires on the data side at Peloton, and
Hmm.
I saw this problem with data scientists time and time again. So I'll give you an example. Like the marketing team or people on the marketing team would come to us and they'd say, "Hey, we want to prevent churn over email." Right? And in their idea, churn over email is, they use an email tool like Klaviyo or Braze or something iterable, and they want some sort of trigger in that system to say, okay, this customer has a high likelihood to churn, and crucially, here is an idea for how to get them back, right? Maybe it's a message from their favorite instructor, or it's a message from maybe it's a hey, remember when you like beat this personal record of yours? Go back and do it again. Like we don't know
Hmm.
what it is, but there's like some ideas. And to a data scientist, a churn model is like spending 8 months in a hole and saying, oh, let me like come up with like this perfect
The
blend of
original
like
cave
variables.
people.
Yeah, data scientists, the original cave people, right? Their idea of it is let's go into a hole and like code something up for 8 months and then, expose it to the marketing team as like some raw like JSON text. And it's like, cool. I made a model. And like, it's like, where is that middle layer, right? Like
Mm,
what is that? Like, why do there's this huge problem where business users who understand what they want as an outcome cannot actually code, and they can't actually like achieve a lot of the things they do because the people that own the data and understand the data and can manipulate the data are very different from the people that actually the business users of the outcomes of those data models, right? Um, Similarly, like, we were working with a brand similar to Chipotle for a while, where they were like, "Oh, we want a model that goes and visits every location on Google Maps and pulls out all the reviews and tells us if someone is getting sick and then notifies us." And it's like, well, the engineers will spend a lot of their time on part one, but the head of trust and safety and risk just wants something. Just wants a text message anytime somebody says, "Hey, I visited this place and I slipped or I threw up or whatever."
yeah.
And now we have AI, right? Now we have AI, and what it does is it allows people who have these creative ideas to, as long as they can point the AI at the right data, they can solve problems in ways that make sense to them. And the people that own the data, all they're now doing is making sure that, hey, the AI has access to it in a way that makes sense, is safe. Um, and you shorten the time to value so much.
Mm,
I've worked on projects where we would spend 9 months creating something that now our team can spin up in like a day, right?
nice. Well,
A
if
good
really what
example
you
of
think,
this. Oh, sorry, go
if you
for it.
think about
Yeah, go
what you're
for it.
doing, is you're actually creating is it's like a liaison, right? In a typical parlance, if you didn't have AI, you'd have to have a person in there, like somebody who can translate the business and the tech stuff and communicate to each other, sort of like a translator in between. But the AI is acting as that translator to be able to create those models.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. It is the translation layer between, and we think that the key there is garbage in. It's the same as any technology, garbage in, garbage out, right? Like
Yep.
the AI has to have access to the right data. It has a limited context length, just like a human has. It cannot process like everything all at once. And so we think that a company's internal data is the way that they're going to be using AI in the future.
So how do you keep it from hallucinating?
Oh,
Like
this is this is this is
how do you keep it
interesting.
from saying, "Oh, I saw like in the example you get earlier, how can it tell what if it goes off on a tangent and says, "Oh, this location is terrible because five people threw up there," but it didn't actually happen. It
It
just
didn't actually do
assumed it.
that.
It didn't happen.
There are two ways. There are two ways that we do that. And the trade-offs are incredibly interesting to think about. We actually take we actually take a lot of learnings and nuance from the world of aviation.
Hmm.
So, the way that it works is if you are trying to get an AI model, because the way it works, right, is you first get all the data. You get like 100,000 reviews for every single restaurant for McDonald's all across the US, right? And the first
Hmm.
AI agent, like its job is to just go pull everything. The
Right.
second AI agent can do one of two things. You can give it all 100,000 reviews and tell it, hey, which of these are bad. But that's not the right way of doing things because the context length is small. Or what you can do is you can save yourself some money and you can just have an AI model look at each one individually very, very fast and parallelize that. It's the same idea of, cloud computing versus mainframes. You
Hmm.
either split up the task and have 100,000 AI agents look at each one individually, or you have one look at the entire thing. And if you have one look at the entire thing, it takes a lot of processing power, and it's not that declarative, right? And so what we do is we take the second approach where we give 100,000 AI agents the same exact prompt and we say, hey, run this. Now, the way that you stop it from hallucinating, and especially if you're going to run 100,000 rows through an AI agent, you will probably get a small number of them that will hallucinate, right? So how do you
Hmm.
prevent that? One of two ways. One is that you limit the output, right? You give it incredibly clear instructions and you say you force the response type that it gives you. You say that here you're like if you're if you're going to say, I want you to tell me if the customer was sick or not sick, you say you basically make it so it can only return two things. It can only return sick or it can only return non-sick. And that's your number one. The second one is really, really interesting, and it comes from, as I said, the world of aviation, where you have two sensors because it's very cheap. So you have two sensors that do the exact same thing, where you have two sensors, both, and those sensors are the same prompt, but to two different AI model providers.
Mm.
And
Hmm.
you say, hey, read this review, tell me if somebody is sick, or they said that they either said that they're sick or they said that they're not sick, or they didn't claim that they were sick, right? And those are the two options. And if the two cheap models, the ones that are very, very small parameter, disagree with each other, then there is a bigger, more expensive model that is the tiebreaker to both of them, right?
Mm.
And
Smart.
that one you can have give you an outcome that is a little bit longer. You can say, hey, like this is why these AI models got confused. This is why,
Yeah,
like,
because you're looking for edge cases, right? You're looking for
exactly.
something that went wrong in that specific place, and you add the additional computing power just to those things and not everything. So that makes total sense.
Exactly. Exactly. And so that's how we do a lot of that. There's a lot of companies that use our product to QA their chatbots.
Mm.
They're like, we have one customer that has like a sales bot on their website, and they sell like clothing, and they don't want the AI bot to greenwash. They're very conscious of like their carbon footprint, but they don't want
Right.
the
It's part of
AI
their
to be like,
brand, I'm
we are the
assuming.
exactly, but they don't want the AI to make crazy claims like we are the cleanest product there is. And oftentimes what happens is like it will do that. And so they're using our product to check it and then feeding that data back into the training set to make sure that it doesn't do that kind of thing in the future.
Yeah. One of
Um,
the things I love about AI is that how adamant it is that it's right when it's
oh
completely
my God.
wrong. It's like it's really confident.
Oh, yeah. The thing that I wish,
It could
the
tell
thing
you a
that's,
blatant lie, but it says it with such conviction that you have to believe it, right?
yeah, it does that so often. And I really wish that, like, and again, they've trained these things to provide the best user experience at all possible. But sometimes,
Sure.
like, I prompt it with like half a brain. Like the other day I was coding and I was using, a cursor type coding agent. And I know not everyone on this podcast is technical. So what I basically did was um, I effectively told it, hey, like I need you to reset like what I've been like working on to like imagine going into Google Sheets or Google Docs and clicking like restore from last version. That's
Yeah.
basically the prompt that I gave it, but I didn't type it correctly. I basically said, "Hey, can you reset this question mark?" And instead of asking me for clarification, it just dropped my database. It was like, "Okay, cool. You want everything deleted? Great. Let me just do that before I like do anything else." And because I'm a moron, I have it set on like max mode where I'm like, "Here, yeah, you can take whatever actions you want." Because I know that everything is like technically reversible, but that one
Yeah.
takes such a long time to come back from, where it got rid of all of my database images and I had to reset them up from scratch, and
Holy
basically
cow.
not giving it
It's
like
the nuclear
slightly.
option, man.
Yeah, but like I really wish that it had just asked me. It's like, hey, for clarification, do you want me to delete everything? Do you want me to reset all content and settings, or do you want me to just reset the settings?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know?
It
Crazy.
was trying to be a dutiful intern and do exactly what you asked for it to do quickly without asking you.
This is okay. So
I love
this
it.
this is this brings up an interesting last point that I'll bring up is that is very true. Is like even humans will not do that. They won't like kind of stop and take a pause to say, okay, what did that actually mean? They'll
It
just
depends
like,
how experienced the human is. It depends on because if the human is sort of like a young intern who just wants to please you, they'll just go ahead and do it without asking
yep,
you, thinking you probably know what you're asking for, right?
yep.
So we
One
we
of my
need to sort
interns
of
last.
build
Oh,
in
sorry.
that. Go
Go
ahead.
for it.
No, we need to build it. We need to build that sort of double check in there, especially when you're doing something major like that. But go ahead.
One of my interns last summer fell victim to one of those Google Play credit card scams,
Yeah.
where she sent me a text message and was like, "Hey, I'm at CVS. Do you want the 50, 100, or $200 gift card?" And I knew exactly what had happened. Like I just texted, "No, no, 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 get out of there." And turns out she'd gotten a text from me that was like, "Hey, like
Wow.
urgent client meeting. I need like $200 gift cards. Please go get them."
Wow.
And she didn't take a second to say, "Hey, she has my number." She didn't take a
Yeah.
second to say, "Oh, I have this guy's number. Let me ask him on Slack to make sure this is not a phishing scam." She was just like, "Man," and I texted her. I was like, why'd you do this?" And she goes, "Well, I thought I was going to get fired." And I'm like, "I'm really sorry that I give off the perception that if you don't do what I do immediately, you're going to get fired." It was crazy. But yeah.
Well, those requests are really, really, really strong. I can understand how some people fall for them. But it's time to think like a futurist to see your
Oh, yeah.
2035, 10 years from now. Where do you think you're going to be? Where do you think the world's going to be? Where do you think AI is going to be in 10 years?
I think the world is going to be, it's not going to be the Jetsons future where we all
Mm,
need UBI. Like, I don't think that all of our jobs, I think that you see so many people constantly claiming that, hey, like, we're going to all lose our jobs.
yeah.
AI is going to replace us. We're going to have a UBI. I don't think that that's true. I think that there's going to be two major changes. I think one, we are going to have to change our education system. I think
Hmm.
the education system, and I'll only speak to the United States, is very still rooted in this factory worker mentality where it's like you are
Absolutely.
somebody whose job is to do a very specific task. American schools specifically, I don't think do a very good job of teaching critical thinking skills. And I think that the job of the future is a lot fewer people are going to do rote menial tasks over and over and over again. But I
Absolutely.
do think that more and more people are going to be in charge of these like teams of agents. They're going to have to learn how to like write a little bit better. They're going to have to learn how to prompt a little bit better. And we're going to see the world, I think, actually, it'll look probably fairly similar to how it does today. However, we are going to be slightly more abstracted from the nitty gritty than we
Mm.
are today. But what that will result in is a lot more time for creativity, a lot more time for strategy. And I think what we'll have is more people with more time to actually invest in creative, new, innovative ways of thinking, which will actually make the world grow at an even faster rate than it did before.
Yeah, I'd love to see that, but the problem is our economic system is topsy-turvy. It's upside down. We want to pay zero for creative stuff, and we want to pay a lot of money for boring, mundane, burdensome stuff. So unless we flip that around somehow, because I mean, I would love to, quit my job and just create all day long, but it doesn't pay, right? I mean, I'm
It
sure a lot of
doesn't.
people would love to do the same thing. So how do we get to that point?
I think my hope is that what happens is that the boring mundane stuff doesn't have any alpha anymore. Like the alpha
Mm,
doesn't just come from like doing more, it comes from doing better, right? Like
yeah,
if I can like, you and I can both go open up Lovable right now and code like a Salesforce competitor from scratch. But the reason you go with Salesforce is because you know that there's a guy at the other end who's going to help you through your problems and that the service isn't going to go down and it has an SLA. If you look at a sales corollary, for example, I get 10,000 messages per day that are clearly AI generated that are like, we can help you find more leads. And it's like, well,
hmm,
okay, you can help me find more leads, but why not try to actually have your AI that has spammed me with this message think about my business for a hot sec and actually suggest some leads for me? Why
right.
not try to, like, sending more and more and more messages, like sending 50,000 messages versus five per day is just commodified now, right?
Yeah, yeah.
That's not the differentiator. The differentiator is the person that, came to my office and delivered a plate of cookies and was like, "Hey, while you eat these cookies, can I pitch you for 10 seconds?" And
Right.
it is that kind of stuff, that creative thinking that is going to be kind of the way of the future.
Yeah, no, I think we need to do that, but I've always had emails like that, but they're really badly targeted. They'll say a
Ugh,
bunch of things about your company and it's completely wrong. And they say, "Well, we can help you do this." And I'm like, "No, no, no, you don't even know what
you
I
don't even
do."
understand.
So
Yeah, you don't even understand what we are
it's
exactly.
AI generated, but the marketing or sorry, the research they did to figure out what I did was so off that they never should have sent the message at all because it made it an even worse impression.
100%. No, I
Yeah.
fully agree with that. I think it needs to get a lot better before we do other things with it.
But do you
So
think that, so you think that we need to change the educational system, of course. And what was the second thing? Did you actually talk to the second thing? I wasn't sure.
yeah, the second piece of that is did I say something? What else did I say? I think that it's just going to be I think it'll have to just it's just the fact that people are going to have to change how they think about their jobs. Like we are
Hmm.
going people who think a little bit more creatively are most likely going to become a much more valuable commodity because like the rote actions are just easier to do now.
Well, what do you think
And
of
that's
this
and that's
whole vibe coding sort of eliminating the lower level layer of coders? Do you think that's going to get worse? It's going to go higher up into the organization?
okay. This is a great question. I love this question so much because I've actually got some data points that I can speak to. I don't know if they're valuable or not, but one of the things that I've seen is that I do not think that there are going to be a ton of companies that are entirely vibe coded by a non-technical person end to end. Like
Mm,
there is such a like engineering is fundamentally pretty hard. Like there are like if you're going to build something, the thing I always tell like I'm an angel investor on the side. The thing that I always tell like my portfolio companies is like if you're one like OpenAI or Google feature away from like not being a company, you shouldn't work on the idea. And I
right.
think that like all of those sorts of things will become foundationally easier. But I think the thing that vibe coding brings us and what I'm seeing on my own team is increases the total addressable market of engineering. It lowers the barrier to entry. Like my sales guy, we were running a webinar and my sales guy was like, "Hey, can we spin up a landing page so I can have people go and sign up on our website?" And I was like, "Honestly, no. Like the engineering team is like heads down focused on something. We got to get creative." And so what he did was he went to Lovable and he created a simple landing page and we just stitched it onto our domain and he now owns that entire thing. The two people on my CSM team, whenever a customer asks for a new feature, sometimes it's a UI bug or sometimes it's like a, hey, we need a new AI tool. We have now documented that part of our code base really, really well to where tools like Cursor can go and actually produce content in there for us, right? And what that's resulted in is no longer when one of our customers complains about something, does it go into an engineering backlog where they'll get to it in 7 weeks? Oftentimes, our CSMs and our sort of like forward deployed folks are just fixing it right there on the spot. Actually,
Yeah.
I'm on this podcast. I've got Cursor running in the background, building like 2 or 3 new tools for like a launch that we have next week. Like,
Nice.
I'm not looking at it because I just got it set on max mode and I'm sitting here being a part of this conversation. But I am a sales focused founder that is shipping probably 5,000 lines of code a day just passively. And it's
Yeah.
nothing that is going to replace our entire engineering team, but it is just more content for us to talk,
Yeah,
for
because
more.
you end up 10xing yourself
Exactly.
instead of losing people, you just do a
Yeah.
lot more with less, with fewer people.
Yeah. We
But
haven't fired, we haven't let go of anyone. We've just had them work on like much, much more higher leverage experience.
yeah. And the other thing I love about this is that it's actually taking people who have no idea what they're doing. Like they don't know how to code, they're not technical at all, but they can actually take their idea and they can make it real, right? Without
Oh,
having
yeah.
to know any of that stuff, without having to have a whole team of developers build something. And they can make it real enough so they can actually pitch it, right? Or put it out
Yeah.
there as an MVP, even if it's not very scalable, just so they can get the idea out the door. And all of those ideas which just sort of lay dormant in these people's heads were never going anywhere, and now they can because of all this.
Oh, yeah. And I think that's great, right? I think that that's an awesome, awesome feature.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
only more, even though it'll still create a bunch of crap, there's still going to be some diamonds and all that.
Oh, there'll be some diamonds for sure. I'm really excited about those.
Yeah, sounds great. So this has been great. Thank you so much. So if somebody wants to get in touch with you, what's the best way?
Most likely LinkedIn. I got an old LinkedIn profile, so it's literally LinkedIn/IN/Ibby IBBY. Go find
Nice.
me. You can find me at Cotera.co, which is our company's URL, Cotera.co. And you know what? I'll put my phone number up there too. If you're reading this and you want to send me a message, my cell phone number is 402-468-8492. Shoot me a text.
Wow, you are brave, man.
There you go. Shoot me a text, yell at me, tell me that I was completely wrong and that AI is going to reduce our jobs. Tell me how, I don't know, say whatever. I don't care.
Sounds good.
I'll read
All
them
right,
all.
sir. Thank
Thank
you
you
so
so much,
much.
Chris.
Talk to you later. Have a good one.
All right. Bye bye.
Bye.
Pixels and philosophies merge and mold, a future untold, unseen.